poor con, it's not beat the first man, so we've got to get this cleared. Crooks is trying to get away with it. It will get away with it to an extent, but it's a waste of this.
It's not a waste of ball, that's a great pass. Come on then, Freddie.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Can Freddie turn and shoot? Can Freddie get a shot? Yes! Unbelievable!
Oh, yeah! What a goal!
Unbelievable!
Right!
Freddie!
Oh.
Apologies to the neighbours.
Hello and welcome to the Rotherham United podcast. We're going to change up for the intro again to hopefully put a bit of a smile over his face after a tough weekend. So I hope everyone's doing all right. We're going to look back at Monday's defeat to Wycombe Wanderers, 3-0 defeat, as we all know. I got myself, Matt. We've got Mick with us.
Thank you very much, Ben. You're very kind. Yes, it's Mick today, but sometimes it's Mike.
It was Matt that introduced you, not me.
And we also have Ben, also known as The Hair, with us as well. I tell you something, mate, you are ready for a haircut.
I know.
It's just everywhere, your hair.
Look at that. It covers the whole thing. It's unreal.
That's great for an audio podcast.
Yeah.
You've only got to wait one more week, mate. Less than a week, hairdresser's open, so you could do a smithy and just take the hit.
Just kamikaze week before.
Yeah. So we come out of the Easter weekend. We talked before about Easter being a pivotal weekend, and it could turn out to be a fatal weekend in terms of our season, potentially. If we go down, you can look back at this as a reason we did go down, ifs and buts. 1-0 loss to Millwall, which we've already talked about previously, and a 3-0 defeat to bottom of the league, Wycombe Wanderers. I don't really know where to start with this, to be honest with you. It was as bad a performance as I can remember in Paul Warren's entire reign. Ben, can you think of another performance which ranks in that level of poorness? I'm not including that first season because that first half, we were caretaker. When we were, I don't really count that because it was on a hide to nothing anyway. I can't think of a more lackluster, pathetic pathetic performance than that. Mick, if you can think of any, shout. I can't. That's got to be the worst of it. His one time in charge, I think.
I can't think of any. You know what? Yeah, the performance was bad. Right, awful performance, not good enough. We should have won that game. You switched on, you win that game.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable. To lose to a team, when you're in a relegation battle, to lose to a team who's below you because they want it more is unexcusable, unforgivable. It is the one thing that you have when you're down there is fight. And to lose a fight is... I don't know. Do you want to go down? I don't know what it is. But to lose to a team because of they wanted it more, when you're fighting relegation, it's the one thing that you have to do is just fight, and you can't even do that.
Yeah, I agree. Nick?
I mean, I just about got over it until the last 30 seconds. And now I'm back into the depth of despair. There's not a lot to take from the game, I don't think. The only thing that we can take as a positive out of it is that for the first half of this season, we were ruining the fact that we weren't creating any chances. Yesterday could and probably should have been about 13-3, with a number of chances that we created. We said in the live show afterwards that we genuinely, if you'd have put a ball in the middle of that pitch and given somebody a shovel, they'd have missed every time trying to hit it on arse. The finishing was woeful. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. That's not very good, is it? It's not a great start for a podcast. But
No, I didn't want to fill another 40 minutes. That's not.
Yeah, it was just poor. It was just poor, and I don't really understand why. I don't. I mean, I know that they broke the game up to an extent that was just ridiculous. I mean, it was.
I can't. Again, I'll search. I can't recall a team breaking the game up as much as them.
Them first, I remember I don't know if they broke it yesterday, but in the first game we played them, it was a record for at least amount of like open play minutes, weren't it? I don't know if they broke it yesterday.
If this hasn't broken the record, I'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Right. I hope they go down. I hope they go down against League Two. I hope they go down to League Two.
That's harsh.
Nah, well, it's not a good time for it. He's cheating. There's one thing, coming to our ground and winning because you fought harder, and then there's one thing because you cheated.
It's not cheating, is it?
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
If it's cheating, referee would have pulled him up on it.
No, he wouldn't.
Oh, come on. They weren't having this bad referee. Come on.
Listen, I said this on the live podcast, on the live show after the game. That's not why we lost the game. It's had very little effect on why we lost the game. It did stop us getting into any sort of rhythm. I don't know whether we would have done anyway, to be perfectly honest. Probably not. So it's got nothing to do with why we lost the game, and it is no excuse for us losing the game. However, I said exactly what Ben's just said. I hope they go down, and I hope they go down for those sort of tactics, because it's as bad as Buendia or whatever the hell his name is for Norwich. It's just the same. It's cheating. It is cheating.
The thing is, what I would say is I agree with that. But as a Rotherham player, right, you have to realise what's going on.
Yes.
So you have to take control of the game, realise what's going on, and sort of play into it and figure out how to work it in your advantage. Because it's so obvious. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're not a football fan, you can see what's happening. So you've got to have that awareness to realise what they're doing and stop it somehow. How, I don't know. But I'm not playing football, so I don't have to know.
I mean, it's a really, really good point, that, Ben, because sometime in the second half, I don't know when it was, they're given a free kick on in their left back position, if you like. Smithy has got the ball, wins the ball unfairly. They're given a free kick. And instead of leaving the ball where it is, Smithy crosses the ball across the pitch.
Yeah.
And John Breckin said on commentary, that's another half an hour now while goalkeeper goes and fetches the ball. It's about awareness. It's about playing. It's about realising what's happening around you. And that just it wasn't there from any of them yesterday, I don't think, with the exception probably, looking back, of Jamie Lindsay. Nobody came out of it with much credit at all.
But that comes from being prepared. It's down to the management team to say, because Wycombe did this last year against us. They scored 1-0 and just did the same thing. This is not new. This is not Wycombe have suddenly pulled this rabbit out of the hat. So why have we not had if we have had a team meeting? So there's two options. Either the management team, or three options. The management team have seen it and thought, well, we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to stood down to level. We're just going to try and ignore it. Or they've told the players and the players have ignored it, or they've just not seen it.
Yeah. No,
Each one is as bad as the other.
I don't think you can. I don't think the first option, the last option is an option. They know it's going to happen. So,
but it didn't look like it, did it?
No.
It looked like a complete surprise to them.
The thing is, right, what I saw yesterday, right, is result aside, performance aside, it's football, right? You can violently swing one way and violently next because you play every week, right?
Yeah, I agree.
The lack of leadership and lack of, I don't know what the word is, lack of love for the game really shines through in moments like that, because it's not hard to realise that game needed a momentum shift. Somehow, I know it's hard without fans in the game, fans in the stadium, right? I understand it is harder, but you've got to figure out a way. You've got to see what's happening. And aside from that, there was no leadership at all. We've missed Woody so much, and nobody stepped up, and we paid for it. That's what you get when you only got one leader, and no one else steps up. I think it was poor. I have no words for it.
We're missing a Freckleton type player in the midfield from yesterday. On the day, they're all fantastic players. We'll talk about formation in a minute, but on the day, they're fantastic players. But Frecklington was always reliable, and secondly, he was always in the referee's ear. It weren't it? It were always, and there's no way this plays into part of what they're doing. If somebody's in the referee's ear, they're not getting away with them tactics for 90 minutes.
No.
The keeper gets booked inside half an hour or whatever else. Volks is another good example of that type of. It's not playing dirty tactics. It's just getting in referee's ear. And Breckin were talking about it all the way through game, weren't they?
Yeah.
How many times did Breckin say, I've been in referee's ear here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the game. And that's not cleverness. That's just modern day football. You've got to have the edge to you.
But
that's
we know,
realising what's going on and doing something about it. Because even if it doesn't affect the game, it's going to affect the referee's mind.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
Yeah.
We know, and we've got the experience of just watching the games this season. So the players know as well that they are going to have to referee the game for the referee some of the time, because they are not capable of refereeing it themselves. That's a fact. I mean, they proved that game after game after game. He weren't particularly bad yesterday. He was just completely ineffective, really.
Just a bit weak.
A lot weak. But that's how it is. And again, it didn't cost us the game. The way we set up, I think, cost us the game, and then a lack of just a lack of leadership and confidence, and I don't know what it is.
Lack of a captain. We didn't have a captain. I'm more for Icky being Icky were captain. I'm guessing he were captain.
Yeah.
But there's a certain role and qualities that a captain has, like Woody. It's just his presence, right? And Woody's coming to the end of his career, right? I know we've been saying this for about 20 years, right? But for real, this is probably his last 2-3 years, right?
Three at most, I'd say, yeah.
Three at most. I don't see anybody on that team filling his shoes. Anybody. Even close. Nobody.
And this is another issue. This is another issue. Whoever's in charge of recruitment, we've pulled out some absolute gems. Matt Crooks, Dan Barley is a really quiet season, but Dan Barley is a icky. The list goes on the players that Paul Warne and his group, during his time, have recruited. But I go back to Frecklington and Volts again. Volts wasn't Warne's signing. Alan Stubbs brought him in. Frecklington came in obviously before then. They're two massive players, and I don't mean their footballing ability. Take away how good Frecklington was as a player and Volks was as a player. We haven't got that. We don't seem to have that. Limsey is the closest we have at the minute, but he doesn't. He's more energetic than a leader. He sort of leads by the way he plays rather than being a captain type thing, if you know what I mean. Crooks is never going to be that type of player. You know,
no, he's not.
We've not got them leaders in the middle of the park in terms of leading like Woody does, and that's a question, a big question. You've got to put the recruitment process while Warney's been here, and I don't like saying that, but it is.
It's the only problem, I think, in the recruitment process. It's just like too many Indians, not enough cheese. It's the other swaps it around, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So
I don't think we should get. I don't want to get involved in what's going on behind the scenes, because none of us three and absolutely nobody else in our fan base knows what's going on behind the scenes. So none of us are in a position to comment about it. You know, we can speculate by what we see on the pitch, but that's it. We're not in a position to comment because we don't know what work goes off behind the scenes. We don't know the processes that are in place. So, you know, you can speculate up to a point, but you can't speculate to the point of criticising people because you don't know what they're doing. So, you know, none of us have got that right. You're right. We need a captain. We ain't got one at the moment without Woody. I don't particularly think that's why we lost the game yesterday, but it contributes to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's lack of effort yesterday. I was thinking about it earlier. I'm thinking a lot. We were recording 24 hours after, basically. And I'm still angry about it. I still find myself every so often thinking about something. Mm-hmm. And it were like we were a very poor tribute act to Rotherham United.
Yeah.
The effort was just about there, and they all obviously looked the same, but it just wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
The start of the frustration was the the formation, Mick, was basically a 4-4-2 with a diamond. We had Ben Wiles playing left back again, which is baffling.
Yeah.
We had four central midfielders. Well, if you count Ben Wiles, we had 5 central midfielders on pitch, and you're playing a 4-4-2. It was never going to work, and it worked about as well as what we thought it was going to.
Yeah.
From the outside.
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, we talked about it before the game, pre-match. We talked about the lack of width that was going to be going to happen, and that's precisely what happened in that first half. Ben Wiles is a great player. I like him a lot. He's a central midfield player. He's not a left back, and he'll do your job. But why, I just do not understand. Why is he having to do a job when we've got a left back, 2 left backs on bench? With Giles, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to Giles, I don't rate him at the moment. I think he was at fault for the last goal. Having watched it back, clearly at fault for the last goal. The one that I was screaming was offside. It wasn't. As you watch it back, but we'll come on to that. But Trevor Clark, why is Trevor Clark not getting any game time? It's a question I would love to know the answer to, because defensively he looks as sound as Ben Wiles, no question about that. Maybe positionally, occasionally, he's a little bit naive, but he offers you so much more going forward. So much more. I don't understand why that's happening. There must be something going off behind the scenes that we don't know about. But it'd be interesting to know. We'd be interested to know what the situation is there. If there is one, I don't know. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, going on the stats here, and to be fair, Saturday were a landmark appearance for Ben Wiles. It's his 100th appearance for Rotherham United, which should be celebrated.
Yeah.
But going off Transfer Market's website, who deal with stats and positions and things such as that, he's played 100 games for Rotherham United. He's only played 55 of them in central midfield. So he's played almost half of his entire career not in his favoured position.
The thing is, right? Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say that doesn't make any sense to me. And I know he can do a job. And I think at League One you can get away with it. But at the Championship, you can't get away with doing things like that. You need to have, wherever possible, you need to have a natural left back, or at least a natural defender. Wes Harding does that job brilliantly because he's a natural defender. You can see Wiles is not a natural defender, and he's fine at it. But you're not only hurting the team by doing that, you're probably hurting his development as well.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, the thing is, right, with team selection yesterday, I'm not angry that Wiles is left back. I'm not happy, but like you said, it does a job. The problem, I think, with the team selection yesterday, there was not one single wide player on the pitch. Harding, for me, is not a wide player. He's more of a centre-back, inverted right-back type thing. Yeah. And unless you're playing against one aside, like one-man team or something, it's not going to work. They're just going to... If they put... It's just... I don't get it. I did not get that. What one wide player on the pitch when you got Clark and Giles, who are both fit on the pitch. I know...
I thought it was rubbish, but...
Flojo, I know Bennett, I know Sunday, granted he might not be fit, he's still on my bench. And to bench all of them to play a diamond, which we've never played before, not even any other manager, not even in the club's history, I can't remember a diamond, with 4 midfielders who... Yeah, they're quite good. None of them are leaders like Fecklington or Volks or someone like that. Or like Barlasser, you put him in that DM role, he's going to pass ball by that. But when this is on counter, by the time they put the ball back at centre, it's still going to be coming back down, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's hardly Usain Bolt or attacking. He's built like this as well, and that's not me having a go at him. I'm just saying he's not. I don't think that's his role. Well,
let's go on to the first goal. Because, you know, it's a long ball from goalkeeper and Dan Barlays has gone to head the ball. I'm sure he's gone with another Rotherham United player and he's got there too early. It's hit him on back.
And then ricocheted to their player. He?
Well, it's not even hit him on head; it's hit him on back, and that's not. I'm not criticising Dan Barlaser at all, because the position he's playing in that game, that was his ball to go for. No issue with that whatsoever.
And he tried.
But that's not his job. That's not his role as an individual. Except that was the role he was supposed to be playing yesterday. But you can't just throw him in at championship level and expect him to perform that role.
When you've got Sean McDonald on bench, that's Sean McDonald's role.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And if you're going to play a diamond, Sean McDonald's got to be at the base of that diamond.
But that's what I was going to say. I won't say he's a leader, but I don't know.
He's experienced.
I think he's a leader.
Yeah.
I think he's,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Where Warney talks about him, he talks about him as if he's a leader.
Well, you know what I mean? It's like Woody just gives you something like control, not naive, experience,
calmness,
calm, poise, stuff like that. And the first goal, I'm sure we'll come on to, but Jansen's having a fag corner flag, so yeah.
His position is terrible, but at the same time, the ball shouldn't have got to where it got to.
I understand that, but like you said, you got 10 Bobby head in middle. No offense to Barlas, he's probably never headed a ball in his life. And for the goal to hit the middle of the net, and he's put it round him. That's come on. Well, what I would like to know is what he's doing there. I genuinely would like to know.
The reason it's there is because if the ball comes straight through, that's where the ball's going to. Because that's the line of the ball where he is. So I assume, I don't know, I assume that's why he stood there. And there's no problem with that.
It's cost the goal, but I'm not a keeper, so I don't know what I'm not a keeper coach. So I don't know.
The problem with that is if he defends his goal. We talked about Wiles on Friday against the Jed Wallace goal. Wiles or Barlaser, I think of Barlaser, wasn't it? Yeah. The first thing he did, I know this is a different situation, but the first thing he did was protect the goal. All right, it ended up costing us, but he did his job in terms of protecting the goal. And that, again, I'm not a professional goalkeeper, not a professional coach. In my head, the first thing he should be doing is protecting the goal. But at the same time, I understand why his position was where it was.
Oh yeah, I do. But the aim of the game is to score more goals in a position and concede less. Yeah. That's the whole aim of the game. We can forget about positions and everything. That's the core base of the game. So I don't know.
I for me, if Jamal Blackman's in goal for that he's getting absolutely hammered on social media. And I'll tell you for why, because for me, again, this is my opinion and I'm not saying it's right, Johansson's positioning is really, really poor, because Johansson's positioning as that ball comes over the top is directly behind it, which puts him very much to the right of his goal. Yeah. The ball has travelled 80 yards, 75 yards, and you can see the direction it's travelling in, and he can also see the trajectory of it. He can see where it's going to land. He can see that ball is not going to come directly through to him. So therefore, at that point, he's got to alter his position back to the centre of his goal, because he doesn't know where it's going to go, and he doesn't alter his position. He remains in that position until too late.
And he's got best seat out, like you said.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to factor in, I don't know how much fact this is, the sun.
It's windy, and it's windy as well. So I accept all those things. And I'm not throwing him under the bus here and saying that goal is his fault. I'm just saying, there is a mistake there. And had we had another goalkeeper in net, then they'd have been absolutely hammered for it. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, it begs the question: would have Blackman done it? That's the question.
Well,
Blackman's much more experienced. That's part of it as well. I don't think he would because of the experience. Johansson's now learned his lesson, hasn't it? Let's be right about it. Yeah. The chance of doing that again is still in it. So
yeah.
From that point of view and this is the issue with playing Johansson. I love Johansson. We've talked about it before.
100%.
He could very well be our number one for 5 years. I think he's that good. But if you're going to play somebody who's never played professional football at professional level, it's going to make these mistakes.
Of course he is, 100%. And I listen, I am not being critical of him. I'm just saying what I see, really. So,
goal number 2. It's just the goal itself you can't do anything about. It's just a massive deflection. I think it hit Wiles. He can't do anything about it. Johansson obviously can't do anything about it. But it's the chances we have to clear it, Ben. There was something wrong with the entire team yesterday, but something particularly wrong with the defence. we're playing a 4-4-2, effectively. So most people in England are brought up playing 4-4-2.
Yeah, come on.
You know, if you're brought up playing 3-5-2, you've come through an academy, a top academy probably. Icky and McDonald, again, they didn't do anything particularly bad, but just as a unit, it just weren't right.
I think the problem is that they'd been used to playing in the 3.
Yeah.
And they were like, what's the word? Like, oh no, you control it, you control. You get what I mean? Or either that, or I'll control it. Because when Woody's in there, he's controlling it. You're not even arguing who's controlling it, right?
Yeah.
But my my guess would be that there's not enough communication of who's going to take charge and who's going to listen to who and whatnot, because like none of them went to the ball. It feels like one of them where either none of them have gone or both of them have gone. It just felt like Woody was missing completely, and the goal itself is football, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's going to happen, but it can be prevented. I think we miss Woody, man. I think that's one of the key reasons we lost. We lost that figure.
As much as we love Woody, and he is the bona fide Rotherham legend, that's a massive worry, Mick, that as soon as we lose Richard Wood, we almost fall to pieces.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. I mean, I understand that I understand that he's a captain. I understand he's a leader. I understand all that. But you know, from a defensive point of view, I think we've got enough there. We've got enough to deal with it, and we just didn't deal with it yesterday. I'm more than confident in Icky. I'm more than confident in McDonald. I'm more than confident in Clark Robertson to go across a full season. I'd be a solid defensive unit without Woody in there. Defensively is not why we miss Woody, I don't think. That sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, having just lost 3-0 to bottom of league. But again, we talk about the first goal. Possibly not really a defensive issue. Maybe it was a bit of naivety. Been playing 5-3 at back. We're playing 2 at back. We've got a man missing out of that central road, if you like, who would have probably gone for that ball in a 5, which would have stopped Barlaser going. So maybe that just switching off at the first, in the first couple of minutes. Second goal, I don't blame them for. Third goal, I don't blame them for. I don't think they can be. So
we're pushing third goal, pushing a game, aren't we? So that
we are, really. but even so, that should never have happened. But it's too late by that point anyway, isn't it? So I can't remember what you asked me now.
I would just point out that as soon as you lose 35-year-old Richard Wood, we just don't. There's a lack of something, whether it's defensive capability or not. We all love Richard Wood. But we're all surprised he's still playing at Championship. And then when he doesn't, we're in trouble.
He played on Saturday. We were in trouble Saturday.
We were fine. Friday, we were fine up until he went off.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair comment. Yeah. Maybe I'm missing something then. Yeah, you might be right, actually. Oh dear.
But yeah, that comes to recruitment. Yeah. But anyway. Third goal,
the thing is, you can do everything, like build this really good culture. And culture's probably, if not as important as the quality of the players, right? And you got Warrington and Barker and all these players on the sideline, right? But when it's that whistle goes, right? It's just the players. Like managers can sell tactics and stuff like that, but it's just players. Like everything goes. You don't even think about what you're doing. It's just players on players. And when you haven't got that calm, experienced player who, let's be real, he plays because he loves football, right? He's 36 or whatever he is. He's still doing it to his body. I'm sure he's having to put it through hell every day to stay fit at 36, 35. So he's obviously doing it for the love of the game. I don't want to be harsh because I haven't met anyone in the team. I haven't seen how they train, what the mindset is like. But I don't see anyone close to that. I don't see anyone willing to do that in the team. And that's not to say that they can't, but obviously Smithy with his work ethic and improving. But it's just that player, man. Like, it's just, I don't know what to explain it, but that player is so important. That player that's if it snowed, he'd probably be there at 6 in the morning shoveling snow so he could train. Do you know what I mean? Like, just that play, you can't teach that into someone. And he's so hard to find. And yeah, we can say it's a problem with recruiting, but it's a once-in-a-generation player, man. I genuinely think
you said that we've reeled off 2 former players who did and do a similar sort of thing. So it's not a once in a generation thing. It's just finding the right person. But I know I accept it's not difficult. I accept it is difficult. Sorry, but I don't know. I'm finding it really difficult not to be one of these reactionary Twitter angry men.
Yeah.
I'm finding it really difficult. I'm having to hold myself back. I've had to hold myself back over the past day or so because it's just that game really, really, really got to me because it was a very, very important game. But if we only lost 1-0, or if we lost 2-0 and played quite well, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It'd have been disappointing, obviously, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. The manner of that performance really, really struck me. And there's something wrong, and I don't know what it was. If you listen to Paul Warne's interview after the game, at times he almost sounded like he were crying. He sounded a little bit of a broken man. And the words he was also saying didn't really make any sense. The players wanted it a bit too much. Well, if you watch that game, there was no over-wanting it. There was no urgency. There was no Rotherham United spirit. That was the opposite of what I saw on the pitch. And I know he's talking to the media. I accept he's not going to tell everybody the truth all the time. That's fine. But that doesn't make any sense. And some of the other things he said just didn't really make any sense to what we all saw on the football pitch. And that worries me.
The thing is, Ray, like I said, he was nearly crying. I wouldn't want anything less. That's the best reaction you can get from a manager. When they're nearly crying because they've lost 3-0 and feel like they're going to get relegated and they're nearly crying. Who else does that, man? Please name one other manager. Please do right now. I'll give you 10 minutes. There's nobody. Nobody. And this is the...
Could you try again?
What was that?
It was...
Mick's watch has gone off. Sorry, everybody. Moved then.
The thing is, right, I know that he was late out doing his press conference.
Yeah, it was, Jim.
I'm more than sure that there was bottles and bins flying around that change room yesterday with Barker, Warrington and Warney. I'm more than sure.
Warney's not that type of guy, is he? Really?
Warney's not. Barker is. You're telling me Barker's not. I can tell you. They're putting up at 6 o'clock this morning, sprinting around stadium, jogging around stadium. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, because it deserved it. I've seen very few performances that deserve it. That deserved it. In the circumstances as well. But yeah, I love Warney, man. That nearly crying is... I love that.
The thing for me that people supporters in inverted commas have to understand, we've banged on and banged on and banged on over the last few days about how garbage the performances have been. Do people think that Warney, Barker, the rest of the team don't feel the same way that everybody else does about that defeat? Because certainly without any question, with the amount of work and effort that goes into preparing the team for a match day, Paul Warne, Richie Barker, Andy Warrington will feel worse than any of us. They will feel, because it is their job. It's their job to do it, and it's their job that's on the line as well. Forget that's over and above any allegiance and feelings, emotions that they have for the club, which all of them do. So they're all going to feel the same about that defeat. So there's no wonder when it comes to then having to watch that, then discuss it with the team, then discuss it with the players, and then have to come out and talk to the press. There is no wonder that he comes out with a load of nonsense. Because you know, if he'd interviewed me after the game, then I would have come out with a load of nonsense as well. Just like all these people all over social media are coming out with nonsense, because in the heat of the moment, after a game like that and a performance and a defeat like that, in the context of it, you're not thinking straight. You're not thinking normally. None of us are. And social media has proved that over the last couple of days, over the weekend. It proves that either people are not thinking straight or are not capable of thinking straight, because obviously some of them aren't capable of doing it anyway in normal times. But the vast majority of people feel so upset and so frustrated and so annoyed. Well, we're invested in it because that's our club. We're supporters. That's our only job. We've only got one. You know what I mean? And that is just to support the club through thick and thin. It is their livelihood as well. So there's no wonder he's going to be upset. He's going to be annoyed. They're all going to be annoyed, or the most of them. Maybe there are some players within the squad that won't feel the same. I'm not convinced, to be honest. But if you want to think that, maybe there is. But you've got to accept that, you know, he's just not going to be in the right state of mind, frame of mind, to be having those sorts of conversations. You know? I mean, well, you're just not, are you? When you're that emotionally invested in it.
No, I suppose. Do you want to touch on the third goal, Mick? You said there's an issue. I haven't watched the third goal back because I can't bring myself to watch it again. Go on. You said at the time you thought it was offside. I couldn't see it.
I made him watch it back in slow-mo and proved to him that it wasn't offside.
It's not offside. So you've got Wes Harding going for the ball, to challenge Akinfenwa. In actual fact, Icky is playing him onside, but only just. But Icky's positioning is bang on right. Icky's looking at the ball. He's looking at the challenge, waiting for that contact to see where the ball's going to go. The goal scorer is right on Giles's shoulder. Giles is ball watching. He is not aware of where that attacker is, or not aware enough, because when Akinfenwa heads the ball, Giles turns back away from goal before then turning back to see where the striker is, who's already got 3 yards on him. His positioning and his attention was drawn to the ball. He's just ball watching, naive. Just naive, really. And then the attacker's away. He's gone. He's gone because he's just got that yard on him, and that's the end of that. It's really poor defending from Giles.
I agree.
Really naive.
The thing is, right, none of us are football analysts or professional footballers, right? But obviously, I play American football, right? And one of my coaches always says to me, hands are for free, so use them, right? You can just put your hand, if you're not looking, right, put your hand on him. Feel where
see with your hands almost.
The moment that you lose track, Jamie Vardy made a living off defenders losing track of him for a split second. He's one of the best strikers I think Premier League's ever had. He's made a living off defenders not knowing where he is for that split second. So, and I understand he's young and he might not be defensive minded, but come on, man,
he's got to learn from that. Definitely got to learn from that. It is a schoolboy error, without a doubt. And I'm not hanging him out to dry. I'm not saying we should sack him or send him back to Wolves. Yeah. You know, what I'm saying is he's made a mistake. He's at fault for that, and he's got to learn. He's got to learn. It is basic defending that. You've got to know where your player is. Yeah. And he just got caught ball watching. But to compound his issue, once he's been caught ball watching, he's gone the opposite way to the player. He's gone away from goal
because he don't know where the player is. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely.
He goes the other way and hesitates and realises. So he actually makes it even slower and turns back around instead of just committing to it. But it is, isn't it? He's a young lad, and I don't think from what we saw of him in his first few games, I don't think he's a left back. I think he's a wing back type. So.
Yeah, well, based on how Wolves play, you've got to assume they want him to play as a wing back, which I think is why it's ended up coming to us. But then when we play wing back, it don't always get played. So, incredibly frustrating game. You see social media, and I get people's frustrations, but I think it is just heal them up a little bit.
We're going to talk about something even that annoyed me, or I'm guessing not annoyed, but just what's the word? Added more ammunition to the day yesterday of Wednesday winning 5-0.
I prefer not to talk about them a lot.
No, yeah.
If you want a little good stat, there was 11 goals scored by the bottom 4 yesterday on Monday. We scored none of them, obviously.
Moving on.
3 out of the bottom 4 won. And Birmingham playing as we're recording.
It's 0-0 as we speak, half time.
Yeah, well, It's
Moving
just
on.
great for everybody who's watching live. Huddersfield losing, so that's good. Frustrating, incredibly frustrating. I get people's anger, but I agree. We've got to come back stronger. These 2 games were big games. The next 4 are massive. They're not just big games. They are the season. I don't think we're going to. If we come out of there with 9 points, we're not far off safe. You know what I mean? We might only need 3-4 more points on top of that to stay up from what would then be 6 games left.
Well, we got 10 games left.
10 games left, 4 in the
So
next.
30 points to play for. 3-0, count them, 30 points to play for. Yeah, I accept that we're not going to get 30 points. I fully accept that. But you know what I mean? Yeah, it's been a setback. It has been a setback. But we as a set of supporters have just got to grow up a little bit. You know, we have. Because it's just wrong. The irony, the irony of people shouting their mouth off, saying players are not doing the job. I've said this already. We've got one. We only have one job, and that's to support our club through thick and thin. That is what you're supposed to do as a football supporter. That is your job, to support the club. Yeah, everybody's going to be fed up. I accept that. I understand that. I'm as fed up as everybody else about the fact that we've lost that game. Both games, quite frankly, against 2 really, really poor sides. You know? So, yeah, I'm as annoyed as everybody else is about it. But for God's sake, I still want to get behind the club. I don't want anybody sacking. I don't want people, getting out of our club or anything else. Come on. Why have we got to behave like this?
Yeah, the thing is, you know what's funny? The people saying worn out and all this, right? Can't even count to 30 to know there's 30 points left.
Well, that's probably right, fair, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
There's no offence between the worn out camp. It's just if you go slating, like if you're one of them that booed Vine off when he got subbed off a few years back, you probably can't count to 30.
Precisely.
I get the frustration though, because from watching the games, I can see it's obvious that we have improved. But we are in a situation where it may end up that we may end up not getting an improved points total. Unlikely, but possible. We're coming for the 2nd championship season in a row. We're coming to the business end of the season, and for these 12 games feel like a mini season within a big season. So for the first 2 games of this mini season, we ain't turned up at all.
No.
But this has been built by this has not been necessarily been built by us fans. This has been built up by the club.
Yeah.
That these 12 games are everything, and then we get dealt that. And I get the frustration.
I do.
It's pointless changing the minds. I'll point this out right now. Even if it wasn't Paul Warne, changing your mind with 10 games left with the situation we're in would be absolutely moronic.
Oh, it'd be stupid.
It'd be so stupid.
Yeah.
But we have got Paul Warne. We've got somebody who wants to do well for the club. We've got this, that, and other. We might. Nothing's going to change. There's no point having too much of a dig. I saw somebody post something on Twitter today about have a go at Paul Warne all you want, but it's these people that have a go take it mickey out of the good human beings mantra and take it mickey out of him doing videos for people.
Yeah.
Why? If you don't like him as a football manager, that's fine. Why do you have to go the extra mile to make sure you say something that really you probably don't read it, but to say something to try and upset people? It's just have an opinion on the football. It's juvenile. Have an opinion on the football. If you think you should go for football reasons, that's fine. That's your opinion. It's that extra mile, like Ben just mentioned. It's effectively booing Zach Vine a couple of years ago. It's the same thing.
It's childish. It's immature. And it's beyond any sort of. We're all frustrated. We're all angry. We're all cross about what's happened this weekend. About 2 really poor performances, in my view. We should have been sitting on 6 points at the end of this weekend. No question about that at all. And I'm as angry as anybody else. But I'm an adult. I know how to deal with frustration. I got over that like most of us did when we got rid of our nappies. But some people haven't, have they? You know what I mean? It's quite clear, isn't it? I mean, let's be fair.
You're going to come in for some stick.
I don't care. I genuinely don't care. I'm not bothered.
The thing is with people that say something just to say something, right? If obviously, just take a look at their lives, right? Because if they were living it up, enjoying life, and you know, what's the
Yeah,
word?
but-
Not taking everything for granted. They
Bear
would
in
not
mind-
have the time or the effort.
Bear in mind the times that we're in as well.
Yeah,
You've got to change. I know, but people don't have anywhere else to get their frustrations out.
No, I get
They
that.
don't.
Well, that's
A lot of people will be furloughed. A lot of people are furloughed, so they haven't got work to take the mind off it. For some people, that game on Monday and Friday right now is literally everything.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's part of where it comes from. If we're at a game, it's different. I don't think you see the social media outrage if we were at the games. You'd see a bit of it, obviously, but you wouldn't see as much.
Listen, I 100% get that, and I accept all that about the issues that we've all had to some degree or another. So, you know, to a greater or lesser extent, we've all had issues in terms of dealing with what's gone off for the last 12 months or 14 months, whatever it is now. Feels like about 10 years.
3 years, I think, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still March last year, I think.
But I don't care what happens. That is to personally attack people.
Yeah.
Is inexcusable. I don't care what's going off in your life. That is not acceptable. And it's supposed to be the team that you support. It's supposed to be the club that we support. It's not acceptable. I get the fact that people are frustrated, and I'm frustrated. I'm really annoyed. But you just can't be going off like this. It's just demoralising for everybody else, as well as not only the team but for the rest of supporters. Why? Don't stop stamping your feet. Grow up. Shout at Kit Kat. You know what I mean? Have a few beers.
We can't Kit Kat.
I can't condone kicking cat. Buy a toy cat, Kit Kat, whatever. But you know what I mean? You know, it's just, I don't know, just please stop it. Come on. We're supposed to be getting behind team. Don't kick cat.
Oh, don't kick cat. Or any living animal, any living person.
Any animal or person.
Yeah. Have you got anything positive? We're going to finish now because I feel a bit better having talked about it a bit, to be honest.
We're going to talk about the games, next few games.
Well, we're going to come back on Friday for a preview of Huddersfield, and it's just a preview, so we'll probably touch on it then. Where we get into the week of death, as Warney calls it, very accurately calls it the week of death. This time this will be out for everybody else to listen to on Thursday. If you're listening to this on Thursday night, in a week's time, we will know where we're going to. For me, I think we'll know where we're going to be in the next season. This
is where, right? Because this is where, if I'm a player right now, and I'm just going to say what I would do or what I would do, right, is there would be no engagement from me for 2 weeks. You would think I would go missing. I would just head down 2 weeks. This is the most important 2 weeks in everyone on that team's career. Everyone. And I'd be treating it like no family talk. I'll stay in a hotel. I genuinely stay in a hotel 2 weeks. That's it. After that, I'm back. Do you know what I mean? It's that important, and they should be treating it like life or death because, like you said, it's a livelihood. It's how they a lot of people, nearly all people listening to this go to work Monday morning to provide for the wife, kids, whatever. Right? That's what they do to provide for their wife and kids. That is their life. They get up in the morning and do that to make a living and survive in this world. So
this is it.
Life or death. This is it. This is it for everyone.
This is it. Yeah.
If this is not the moments that you live for, why are you playing professional sports? Go and play chess or something. No offense, I don't play chess, but you know what I mean. No offense, because chess is a very hard game, to be honest.
Well, yeah. We need to come out of this in a better position than we are now. If we come out of these 4 games still 6 points adrift, for me, I can't see us staying up. We've got to come out in a better position than we currently are.
So if we come out of these 4 games still 6 points adrift, right, with 18 still to play for,
you've got to bear in mind who we've played. But
I accept that. Yeah. It's still on. It's still on by a long way. It's 30 points to play for.
Yeah, there is, but after you've played those 4 games, if you were not better than 6 points, if we're not within 6 points, that means we've either lost to Coventry or we've lost to Birmingham.
Yeah. No, I get that. I accept that. Let's see. Let's just see how it pans out. Every game, every season has a turning point.
Yes, it does.
And I don't think there's any doubt at all now that Monday was a turning point. It just depends which way we've turned.
It's got to be a turning point, and I think it will be. Anyway, thank you. I hope this has made everybody feel a bit better. It's made me feel a bit better. Mick, do you feel a bit better?
Yeah, I think so.
Ben, have you got anything positive we can finish on? Because we've always spent the last 50 minutes not arguing with each other, but
I thought
talking
what
about
I just
it.
said were positive.
Yeah,
I know, but some of it,
Compared to what we said, I don't know, man. Like, I'm happy with the quote. Like, I look at my football club, like, league table aside, like, we are one of a kind in the country. Like, you saw what happened at Sheffield with Wilder getting relegated, with Wilder getting sacked. Sheffield will get relegated and they'll go back down to League One, and they'll rot in there for another 10 years. Like, you've got to think about what you really want from this club, because if Warney goes, I've said it, half the club goes. Do you know what? If Warney goes, I won't be surprised if Stewart goes. Do you know what I mean? If Warney goes, we will not be successful for a very, very, very long time. Very long time. No, I'd say that. I'll bet everything I've got. Everything I've got. Warney's one of a kind, man. I've spoke to Wednesday fans.
I agree with that.
I spoke to Wendy fans and they like him. Wednesday fans. Like, come on. What you got.
This is why we want to succeed, because the good guys never win. Or it feels that way. And that's why this is a better story than most, because he's clearly one of the best guys. He's one of the nicest people. I only met him once or twice. He is one of the nicest people in this club's history. And that's not an exaggeration. He's clearly, he goes above and beyond and everything else. And that's why I feel so emotionally invested. It's Rotherham United. I always, it's something extra feels. I really want him to succeed as a person as much as I want Rotherham United to succeed as well. And I think that's why it's so tough to see these games and see these defeats, because at some point soon, this is all going to come to an end. And it could, I don't want it to, but it could all come crashing down on top of us, where we potentially hound out a club legend and to boot a nice guy. I'm not saying it will.
He's a club legend. 20 years from now, he will be talked about. My kids will know about him, whether they like it or not. He will be talked about after he's gone. I can wear that. He's a club legend. From my memory, he is. Well, I've been alive that long, but he is. I don't know what the word is, but he's up there, club legend. Like I don't know what the word is. Icon. You know what I mean? Everything he's done. And he's not even from Rotherham. Like, he's from Norwich, right? Like, why should he care so much about our club? And he does. Like, you gotta recognise when you're seeing greatness, right? Because you don't know when it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, okay. That's positive. Well done me. We'll be back on Friday for a look ahead to the week coming up. And then we'll be out most days probably after that. Please subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Wherever you see Rotherham United podcast, click follow, click subscribe, click whatever it is. And feel free to get involved at any point as well. I'm sure Mick said something to upset certain people, and I probably upset some certain people. Or if you agree or whatever, feel free to get involved. There's been some good conversation on Twitter. There's been some bad conversation on Twitter. So that's football, isn't it? Thank you very much. Anything finally you two want to add?
No, I've said what I want to say.
Cool. Thank you all. We will see you all on Friday. Thank you very much, Mick, Mikey, or Mickey,
or Mike,
or Mike.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Mr. The Hair.
You're welcome.
You
just saying it because you're trying to go in it.
My hair's alright, actually.
True.
Anyway, thank you. We'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers, guys.
Looking towards Odegaard. Ravel. Ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it!